So I'm very happy to introduce Lindy Amato, who is a Director of Professional Affairs for the Ontario Teachers Federation. Hello, Lindy. I'm so happy that we have this opportunity to speak with you.
Shalom, Tali. Thank you so much for including me in this very important conference that you're holding about educational change, which is a subject that is very dear to my heart and that I'm very passionate about. So I'm really happy to be part of the conversation. I am really excited to talk a little bit about the reform that happened here in Ontario. It was a massive and I think a really impressive systems change that happened. It took place between the years of 2003 and 2018. In the late 1990s here in Ontario, we were in a very bleak situation in education. The government had attempted to force teachers to do certain things, including mandatory professional learning, and they had introduced a system of teacher testing, which really insulted teachers. And so as a consequence, what actually happened was the inverse of what the government said they wanted to do, because all professional learning in our province ground to a complete standstill. Our teachers were very discouraged, and confidence in the publicly funded schools was at an all-time low. In December of 2003, we had a new government that was elected, and the government decided that it was determined to create peace and stability in the education system. The first thing that they did in a very clear action was to cancel teacher testing. And this was very greatly appreciated by the teacher federations, and everybody realized we were starting on a new path. When the new government came in and they wanted to create this peace and stability, what they decided to do was that the seed of the reform would have to rest in this notion of collaboratively creating the goals of the reform. So they would work with the teachers' organizations to properly decide on some goals that we could all agree on. And I think they were very smart, because instead of creating a reform that was focused on many goals, they chose just 3 goals, 3 simple goals that everybody could agree on. And those 3 goals were to raise student achievement, and that included the graduation rate. So really looking at what's happening in our secondary schools, but even earlier to say, how do we make sure that students graduate correctly and successfully from schools? The second goal was to close achievement gaps. They wanted to narrow the space between our highest achieving and our lowest achieving students, obviously not by bringing down the highest achieving students, but by bringing the lower achieving students up. And third goal was to strengthen confidence in the publicly funded school system, because as I said, the confidence was low, the morale was low, and this was a very important goal. I would also say that as you define those goals, not only should they be co-developed and just a few goals, but they were easy to articulate and easy to measure. We needed to have ways that we could measure our success, and we recognized that from the front end, that it would be very important to be able to show the public, show the teachers, show the government what was the success that we were achieving. It was an unusual situation where the government said, we cannot bring about improvement in our system if the teachers are not on board. And we had this wonderful moment where the premier of our province, it would be like having the Prime Minister of Israel stand up and very publicly say, we are supporting teachers because it does not matter if we invest money. It doesn't matter how much you want the change. You will never have change. You will never see the results unless you enlist the teachers in the cause of improvement. What they did was they put forward a lot of money to enable professional learning. They wanted to make sure that the teachers could look at their own skills and really do self-directed professional learning, voluntary professional learning, a very broad range of opportunities, different kinds of learning. And they also helped to support teachers in learning how to use data to improve the outcomes for students. They wanted to enable teachers to share what they were learning. So a lot of the professional learning that we did was located in collaborative learning communities in schools, where they gave time to teachers to share what they were doing with each other. Our secondary school graduation rate increased from 68% in 2003 to 85.5% in 2016.
Wow.
Okay, it means in 13 years, you have this enormous jump in the number of students who are successfully graduating. The number of schools that we had with low performance results. Don't forget, we did have, and we still do have standardized testing in our province at grade 3, 6, 9, and we have a literacy test in grade 10. So the number of the schools that had low results on those tests, it fell from 20% of all schools to less than 5%, and that happened in just 5 years.
Lindy, this is fascinating, and there's so much to learn from this story.
Thank you so much, Tali, and enjoy, everybody who's at the conference, enjoy it, and I hope you have great learnings.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Tada.